guys, welcome to Empower Hour. We host this call every single Monday at 7 o'clock Eastern. It's an industry-wide call for anybody in home business, network marketing, online marketing, anything like that. We welcome you to join us every single Monday. We've been sharing with you guys that this fall is super exciting because we've got some very big names in the industry coming on our call, and we're excited to have them bring value to you guys. Tonight is our first night with our very special guest, Tanya Aliza. She's somebody super dear to my heart, a very good friend. We met 10 years ago when I purchased my first course from her, and I asked her if I could interview her for my blog, and she said yes. We quickly became friends and started working together. I actually got to work for Tanya for 3 or 4 years with her customer service on her courses as a branding strategist. And I learned so much from her over that time. I watched her scale her business. I watched her figure things out and then just turn on that machine and keep it going and going. And then just recently, this past March, Paul and I were able to go to her Ignite private mastermind where we got to study with her and learn exactly how she uses online marketing to recruit for her network marketing business. It's been so valuable for us. It's how we created the Lion Pride Academy, and we've learned so much from her. And I know she's going to drop some massive value today. So Tanya, it's so great to have you. Thanks again for agreeing to be with us. I know your story. Paul knows a bit of your story, but the people here may not know how it all began. So I would love to hear from you. I know you were super successful in corporate finance, and then you found network marketing and it changed everything. So I'd love to hear from you. Share with our listeners, our people on here with us tonight. What did you find about network marketing? What was it that changed your life? What was it that you saw in it that you were not finding in your career?
I wanted a different life. Like I was always like really driven for that. So I used to be, nobody told me that entrepreneurship, I could ever do it, right? Nobody ever taught me that in school, right? We're taught to go to school, get a good job, work for somebody else, make them rich, right? So what I did was I did that. I got a good job. I became a finance specialist and I made really good money in my 20s, but I was working 12 hours a day, 6 days a week. On the seventh day, I had to be on call in case my business partner needed me for any deal information. So I had good money that I was making, but I was time poor. I'm just one of those, like time poor. You want to go fast in network marketing, recruit and talk to people who are already successful. Like that is the way to go really, really fast. Some people ask me, Tanya, what's the secret to success in network marketing? I say, recruit up, talk to people that you don't think are going to be interested. Because if my girlfriend never shared, my girlfriend, Michelle, she invited me over. This is back in the day with home parties. I'm totally dating myself. I joined network marketing in 2009. I joined network marketing, November 2009. And December, I was already like buying the ticket for the event in January, and I was bringing 12 of my teammates to Florida from British Columbia, Canada. So we went across country to another country to a company event. I purchased the top of the line product, like package with all the things, because I said, what do successful people with this thing do? And like, that's just what I'm going to do. And I saw the people doing the presentation and I was like, I am way better at this than you. Like, I am going to be a millionaire in like 10 days. So I've got this in the bag. I am not an overnight success story. It took me about 4 years to really grab some good traction. But it's better, like everyone says, it's better than the 40-year plan, right? So I was, like Angel said, I started to build online on social media before anybody was really doing it. In fact, most of the companies back then were actually shunning it. Can you believe it? They were saying, oh, you don't want to build on social media. That's not part of our system. That's not our plan. And they would say, don't do it. And I was like, well, this makes total sense to me. Either I got a living room of 5 people or I've got an internet sea of 5 million in front of me, right? Like, billions of people. Like, why not?
Mhm.
And so I battled that, but then got really good at social media and really good at digital marketing and learning how to get people that were actually interested in the benefits of what my product or service provided. So I wasn't really talking to tire kickers. That's the benefit of having like your systems and processes in place. And then I figured out, I got really good at closing, and then I got really good at, so all the like little things I invested into myself to learn how to do those things. And then actually we were enrolling so many people so fast. This was a really great quality problem that my upline called me up and she said, "What are you doing?" And I said, "I can't really explain that to you right now. I don't have time, but can you help me onboard all of the people that are joining?" I said, "Because I'm doing them a disservice because I don't have time." So this was a quality problem. So I created that partnership. And I said, "Judy, I'll bring the people and I'll enroll them, I'll sign them up. And then can you help me with onboarding?" So we built up pretty fast after we kind of had our systems and processes in place. And I'll never look back. It's been the best thing. And then obviously, what happens when you start having a lot of success like this, people want to know your systems and processes. So actually, every Thursday, I was doing a free webinar teaching people what I was doing. Like I was like, and I'm making content that's like this. I was doing this, and I was doing it freely. And then I had a business coach of mine say, "You could really charge for your information." I was like, "What the heck are you talking about? Charging for my information?" And he's like, "No, people, when they pay attention." And I'm like, "Oh, okay." I said, "I don't know how to do that. This is before the day of digital courses, before the day of anything like this exists online." I go, "Figure it out." And it took me way too long to create my first course to teach people how to do things. But you remember, Angel, you were one of my first buyers of that course in 2014. This is crazy,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And that's how we met. You wanted to interview me because I said in the course,
Yeah.
interview people. So
Exactly.
she calls me up and she's like, "This is a shot in the dark. I know that you're maybe busy, but I'm a student of yours. And you said to interview people. Would you do an interview so I could put it on my website?" And I was like, "Heck yes, like let's do this." So that's how we got connected. And yeah, and so I've been teaching now my strategies that have worked really well and work still really well in my business. Because I believe that if you are going to teach something, you have to be doing it and you have to have
Yeah.
success with it. That's really important. You don't just go to like ChatGPT and say, "Hey, what should I teach people and how do I teach it?" And by the way, I've never done it. I I don't really think that that's ethical, but that's just me. But yeah, so it's been fun, and it's sort of transpired now where we have a full blown marketing company where we teach and train entrepreneurs and network marketers how to grow online. But with this caveat, I will say this because Angels mentioned it. I am super religious on time freedom. So if I have something like I create systems and processes that give me that time freedom, and you just have to. So if I find myself doing the same thing over and over and over again, like more than 3 times, I'm like, how can I automate this? Like,
Mm.
or how can I eliminate it? Or how could I delegate it? Because my time is really important. And that's the biggest thing that people come into like our profession, online marketing, social media marketing, network marketing. We want time freedom. So we have to set up the right systems and processes at the beginning to get that time freedom. And we all learn the hard way, right? I learned like, oh my gosh, like we're doing things and we've created this monster. And how do we get out of this mud pit, right? So I think that's the differentiating factor that I have is like, I really truly love it when I can see my students and my people like create, but then, yeah, their business is successful and yes, they're making money, but their life is amazing because of it. They're able to like do the things that they never wildly thought possible before retire spouses go on actual vacations where they can literally unplug and business doesn't stop. So that is in a nutshell. And so, whatever you guys can from that story, like take that, put it into your story bank, and then just maybe make some mental notes like, oh, God, do this, or maybe look into doing this. And so, yes, so that is my story.
Yeah, I think that's so awesome. Like automate, eliminate, or delegate. I wrote that down because that is like I like to work in threes of how I think. Like what are the three things I need to focus on? So that's really good. And I think anybody who's maybe starting to get a little bit busier and starting to experience that whole part of network marketing where you're like, holy crap, I don't have a lot of time, but I'm working for time freedom. So what processes can I change, right? I don't even know if you know that when we came to your Ignite mastermind, that was when Paul and I had really decided that the two of us were going to kind of duo up, right? We saw a difference in the two of us in the way that he is and I am, and we both do come from business backgrounds. We both are a little bit different in training, but we were building too, right? And so we knew that we could bring this different style of training, bring a free community to people, just like you have done. You've had so many free trainings that you do for people in your Facebook lives, and you've been so consistent. And I think it's so important for people to understand, am I learning from somebody who's actually not only done this, but are they still doing it? You're still building right now, right? Like you're figuring out processes for your own business. So why wouldn't we want to learn from you of, okay, how has Tanya done it? What can she teach us? And what more can we learn from her along the way? And because your heart is like, it's that abundance thinking, right? And it's, some people are like, well, why would you bring somebody from a different company onto a call and share them with your people? Why wouldn't you? I would love for people to hear from you. We have to think abundantly, and we have to know that there's people out there that are going to love somebody and they're going to want to work with them. And we just want people to create success. And you've always done that. And I was sharing at the beginning too, how I watched you build your email list. So I'm curious because I haven't worked with you in a few years. So I would love to know, how valuable is that list still to you? Because I watched you scale that puppy up. Like you just turned on a machine, and that got insane back in the days from the 2014 to the 2019, right? Like that, you really, really mastered that. How much did that help you, and how much is that still a whole factor for you that people don't even realize?
Yeah, and that's such a great question because social media and digital marketing changes so much over the years. But the one thing that hasn't changed is the value of email marketing and having your own email list and having your own actual email list, like not an SMS list. We have tried SMS and it's not the same. And it's not as like a long-term play. We have tried like many chat or chat lists and things like Facebook bot lists and stuff like that. We try everything, right? And we try to find what really works for the long term. But the email list is always been a staple, like a huge staple. And the value of it today is unmatched. Like without your list, you don't really have a business. This is what makes large corporations, by the way, worth as much as they are, like in valuation and multiples, because they have buyer lists, they have prospect lists, they have people. Facebook was worth $1 billion before they sold 1 penny of advertising. And the reason for that is they had the eyeballs, they had the people, right? So if you think about that as like a smart, logical business person, like we all are here, you've got to have your list, and your social media following, like your followers on Instagram, TikTok, whatever, they're not your list. Like you don't own that. You don't control it. It can be taken away like this. So it empowers you as an entrepreneur to basically write your own paychecks. So for example, if I feel like, okay, by the way, we just built a brand new house, the cost to this thing never ends, and the front yard needs to be done. Landscape edging is already a few $1,000s just for the landscape edging. All right. So let's say I was like, I need to drum up a little bit of money today. Let's just email the list. This is the power of it, right? Like, let me make my own little promotion, 3-day email sequence, send it out, make some money, good to go. That's the empowering part of having that list. And it's just not the same with social media. And the value of my list today, it's funny because when you produce good content and you're helpful to your audience and you understand them and you actually care about them, you're not just here to make money and sales from them. You actually truly want to help them. And the byproduct of that is they want to buy stuff from you, right? So it's funny because my husband, Ricky, he used to be a big corporate guy over in big tobacco, and he worked as a senior marketing director. Okay, so he is in charge of multis of tens of millions, hundreds of millions of dollars on a P&L, a profit and loss sheet. And so he comes in and I meet him. He looks at my business and he was like, holy crap, Tanya, like you need to create more things. You need to sell more things. Your list is the most highly engaged list that I have ever seen. And they want to buy from you. You have a quality problem that you've run out of things to sell them. So I said, this is a good problem to know. And so, yes, that's kind of sparked the creation of something that we're working on right now, which it's not ready and it won't be for a little bit, but we're working. We're always being creative over
I'll
here.
wait to get that email when that's finally ready to launch. I'm sure I'll get an email about it.
Are you on the waiting list for it? Did you get on the waiting list? You better be on the waiting list.
And we want like whatever spices you can give us from that little pot that you're cooking later on when we're ending here, because we want to make sure people are on that waiting list. And we want to make sure, because honestly, and I saw that firsthand, you had a list of people who were buyers of yours, probably the highest converting list I've ever seen in my life, like where it was just like they raised their hand at everything you did. And that's because of the value that you put out there. One thing we worked heavily on, and I'll let you talk soon, Paul. I know I know you love
No. I'm loving this. I have
Paul,
one
you're
question.
doing
That's all I have
so
is just one
good.
question.
You're doing so good, Paul.
Isn't he doing good?
Thank you. Because you know I could be bad. Only live events.
And I think for people who are like, whoa, I'm not even close to that level. I haven't even created the success in network marketing, never mind online marketing and email lists and all of that. And I do want to say congratulations on your marriage to Ricky. It was so great to meet him when we were in North Carolina in March.
And your mom and the dog.
Oh, yeah. We bring the whole family out. Yeah.
Now, Tanya Aliza Neerman. But branding. Right. And where can people start with branding? And one thing I massively learned from you, because I went on to be your branding strategist, right, with the people with their done for you blogs. And it was always the same thing. People could not recognize that their brand was themselves. Their story is their brand. Who they are is their brand. The people looking for them are the people like them. Right. And it was just every single time these aha moments. And I almost felt guilty sometimes because I was like, oh man, I'm doing the same thing over and over again. And I'm just giving people these realizations that you taught me, right? Because it's like, who are you? What do you want to share? Who do you want to share it to? Who are you speaking to? So I think for anybody on here, where it's like, if you haven't even maybe built your team, maybe you're not even at your first rank, your second rank, that's okay. That's where we all started. And to be able to learn from somebody like Tanya is to learn that her brand started somewhere 10, 12, 13, 14 years ago as well, right? And you just continue to build that value and be who you are. And you've always shown up as who you are, and you've always consistently delivered exactly what you've promised to people since day one. That's never changed. Your message hasn't changed, but the quality of what you deliver has. So if you're speaking to those people right now who are on here who are like, do I need this online marketing thing? Oh my gosh, is this just another whole thing I have to add on to what I already don't have time for? What advice would you give to somebody right now? Where would you start? Where would you focus? If you had 30 minutes a day online, where would you focus right now?
Those are such good questions, Miss Angel. Okay, so branding's important. You need to do it. Like you got to have a brand of some sort. Now, branding doesn't mean get a fancy logo, figure out colors and all that jazz that I'm really not that good at anyways. I never had a logo in my business for like probably the first decade. Still created millions of dollars in revenue, right? So I would say the first thing that you got to do is you have to know who your target audience is. That's just plain as day. Like if you don't know who you're speaking to nobody, or your message is too vanilla that nobody is going to listen, unfortunately. So if you're not getting the engagement, the likes, stuff like that on social media that you want, you might want to take a look at the content and ask yourself, is this specifically created for a target audience of some sort? Do I really understand their needs, wants, and desires, their problems, their struggles, their challenges? And then you want to make sure that you have that dialed in. And some people say, well, my product's for everybody. It might be, but you need to speak to a certain group of that everybody, because otherwise your message is watered down and nobody really listens because they don't feel that it is specifically created for them. So that really, to me, is the first thing that you do when you create a brand. And it is also the most confusing for somebody just getting started. And that's why you know, are plugging in to certain people that can help you with that. In fact, the software that we're building basically asks 2 questions. You answer those 2 questions, it'll tell you what the most profitable target audiences are. So it's really cool, because I find the struggles that most people, I've been doing this for 15 years. So I know the struggles that people have. I know the roadblocks that people have. And so the bottlenecks are my job as the right coach and mentor for them to break through. Like that's my job. If you, and it's also your job as the marketer, right? If you can break through bottlenecks that your audience has, you'll be their savior. And they'll be like, take my money, shut up, here you go. That's rock and roll, right? Because you're providing real solutions. You got to know those bottlenecks though. But yeah, that would be the first thing. It really, if you just revolved, you don't even really need to think about fancy, you got to look good. You got to entertain your target audience. So once you understand who your target audience is, it's really easy for you to know how to show up in imagery on social media. So for example, if you are targeting stay-at-home moms and that's who you really want to help with your content, with your business, with your products, right? Your message, then are you going to show up in your imagery wearing a suit and tie? Like, not really. You're just going to show up like this. Top knot, yoga gear, whatever, casual, like that imagery matches your audience. So everything lies within your audience that you are serving, and that's the biggest foundation of your brand, like the biggest foundation. And so I would pick, if I was just starting out today, knowing all of what I know, I would dial in who my target audience is specifically, really have an understanding, go niche with that, understand what they're challenged with, and then figure out how to create content for them that solves their problems, helps them out, provides solutions, gives them entertainment and value specifically to that audience. And then pick one social media platform. I don't care what it is, but one, especially when you're just getting started, like one social media platform. And it could just be where there's a caveat to this. I'd want you to pick somewhere that you enjoy being, because otherwise you're not going to do it. But you also have to pick something where your target audience is hanging out. So those are kind of the 2 things that you kind of consider and weigh. And you want to pick either, my personal recommendation is like Instagram or Facebook or YouTube. Those are kind of like my top 3, depending if you have a target audience of more working professionals, corporate-y type people, you might consider looking at LinkedIn, right? But you'd pick one platform and you would dial in who you serve in your profile description. I help blah, blah, blah with blah, 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 right? How do you help them? I help insert target audience. But I help it by however you help them, showing them how to grow an online business or start a business online and, have a side hustle that can supplement your 9 to 5. So if you ever want to leave it, you can. I don't know, right? Something like that. And then create content for them. And when you're first starting out, and if you have bigger goals, go hard with it. 1 a day, 2 a day. I mean, it depends. Like if you have a goal of making $500 a month extra, do you need to post every single day, twice a day? Probably not. So you just match the activity with the goal that you have. So whatever your goal is. The thing that drives me nuts, I'm sure it drives you guys nuts as well, is somebody will say, well, I want to make $10,000 a month. And it's like, okay, well, how many hours do you have to put into that? And like, what are you willing to do? And like, well, I don't want to do this. I don't want to do that. And then I don't want to do that. And by the way, I only have like an hour. And then I'm like, I don't think it's going to work out. So you have to be realistic with yourself, right? So you have to actually say, I actually really want this. Here's what's going to happen if I don't go for this. Like, what is the most detrimental, embarrassing thing that could happen to you if you don't make it? People say have a why that makes you cry. That doesn't work for me. It just doesn't, because I move away. Most people do, by the way, away from pain faster than I move towards pleasure. So knowing what my pain is, my embarrassing moment if I don't make this work. Now, for me, it was I would have to go back to my corporate job with my tail between my legs and say my thing didn't work out. And to me, that was scary as bleep. Okay. So I got my big girl pants on and I made it happen. And so sometimes you have to trick your mind to move away from that pain faster than you move towards pleasure, right? So everyone's like, oh, want that big fancy house. It's like, that's not motivating enough to keep you going, right? So anyways, so you just have to match that all and just, every week, and then do what these guys are doing. Angel and Paul are like leading by example, lives. They're doing what I was doing, right? Lives every week, showing up, giving value, bringing incredible speakers on to help you guys with different perspectives. This takes a lot of work, by the way. I hope you guys like recognize they have to set up the calls, they have to get on our schedule, and they do this freely for you guys. The value is insane. And then you can do the same thing for your audience as well. It doesn't have to be business information that you're talking about. It could be how to feed your kids in the morning in 10 minutes with a healthy, nutritious snack or a healthy, nutritious meal that will keep them full and not make them fly off the wall all day long and drive their teacher crazy, and show a recipe or help whoever your audience is, right? So that's what I would do.
I love that. And guys, when she said, figure out who you're speaking to, I want to make note. If you guys are taking notes, get out your pens right now or put a note in your phone. She said, what are their needs, wants, and desires? And what are their problems, struggles, and challenges? And create content speaking to those people. And it feels uncomfortable day one. It feels uncomfortable day two. It sucks day three. You're like, I don't want to do this anymore. Nobody's listening to me. And eventually you get traction and people start to listen to you and you turn into a Tanya Aliza down the road. If you continue to give that value and you continue to just focus on it, I think that's awesome. I remember you back in the day with your slippers and you would do the post with your slippers on. And I'd be like, that is branding, right? I'm working from home in my slippers. And you gave me permission to be my own brand, which was, yes, I was the mom, but I wasn't doing this for the moms. Do you know what I mean? Like I was more focused on business and I was more in love with the opportunity that network marketing presented. And I can't stop talking about from the business side. So I really did dial in on LinkedIn and stuff like that, because it really helped me to focus on, okay, that's fine if that's who you are. You don't have to share, even if you love your products, you don't have to be speaking about them if that's really not what your passion is, right? So I know, Paul, you're probably like, I know you've got notes. I know you need to speak. I know.
No, I really don't. I'm actually absorbing this. I just got a couple of little things if you want me to. So number one is I want to talk about the big takeaways that you did tonight and I really got from Ignite, because it really meant a lot to me. It really did. I got to be honest with you. I went in with that attitude like, oh boy, here we go. And it was a game changer. And the first thing is that niche play, right? The spray and pray thing, try to appeal to our product works for everybody from people for 2 years old to 110 years old. And you just blew it. when you focus in on that 50 plus range or the 60 years old or the 25-year-olds, whatever it may be, that's so much more productive because you're going to your closing ratio is going to go through the roof. So the niche play and target the audience and narrow it down, focus it, maybe relate that to who you are. I'm a 60-year-old guy. Maybe I'm going to focus on that. Maybe I'm going to focus on younger guys as the older guy, whatever it may be. The other thing was, you didn't talk about it tonight, but building a home, meaning having that platform, because no one goes to your company site. So many people, like, you think sending your link is going to close them. And I got to be honest with you, after doing this and having thousands of people in my organization, tens of thousands, the last thing they do is ask for the link. In fact, when I give out a link, it's because they ask me for it. All right, I want to sign up, send me your link, right? Because they've been through that process. So building a home is important. So I'm going to, and also then we have the book. I have the book somewhere and I try to bring it up today, but literally the funnel we built is step by step. We stole the pages. We recreated the PowerPoints. We did it all. And it was just done for you, but then we just put our own spin on it. And to be honest with you, we're still editing it, still tailoring it. But some of the other techniques you gave us are working faster, like the niche play and building a home with Lion Pride Academy and people joining up. And how do I join? And we're building that list. Our lives will get better. I promise to comb my hair most of the time, but it doesn't matter. So here's what I want to tell you. You built this amazing digital marketing platform. What's like some core strategies or principles that you could leave somebody with like something really core, right? Like you said, don't worry about your logo. And I think people spend more time about the what than the how. What's the logo look like? What's the website look like? Let me pick my colors when like, what's the content, which is more important, right? So something like that, maybe a core value or a core strategy.
Yeah, the core strategy is to have a way that you can take people from your social media, which is an environment and a platform that you don't own and control, and use it though to your benefit, because that's where all the people are. You get to freely use it, right? Freely. You don't have to pay to use it. You can if you want to, but you get to freely use it to get in front of millions of people if you do it right. And the core strategy is to take those individuals and get them interested in what it is that you're doing by putting the right message out there, knowing your target audience to be able to put the right message. From that message, bring them to your house, which is your funnel, right? Your opt-in page that delivers value, positions you as a credible expert, person of authority, helps them, gives them more value, right? And it collects their information so that you can follow up with them. If you don't have their information, you can't follow up. And the fortune is in the follow-up. So this is why you want to do it. People are on social media scrolling while they're doing many other things. And they might see your information and really like it and go, oh, wow. But if you didn't have a way for them to leave their details, they're gone and they will forget about you and you'll get lost in a sea of crazy on social media.
Right.
So the biggest thing that I've had, and I always do, is I always, share something of value where I get people on my list. And then I have a very strategic messaging system that follows up, not in a way to just sell them, but I'm always putting more value on them.
Right.
Because the minute somebody feels like that you're just pouring value on them, they're like, for free, they're like, well, geez, Louise, like, I wonder how this would work if I spent money with this person. I just even want to give them money because I got so much free stuff from them. I get that from people, right? And so that would be my core strategy, and making sure that you have that house. Yeah, at the event, at the mastermind that you guys came to, I did give a really good analogy. Like if you think about like your house, right? You've got to build your house. You have to have somewhere for your people to come in and walk through the front door. And that would be like your value offer that you put in place. And the people that come into your front door, you need to have somewhere for them to sit. You need to have warm baked cookies that you're making them and they're eating, and then they're going to stay and they're going to want to never leave. I mean, that's the whole process of what it is that we're doing in that way. So So that would be what I would absolutely do. And you guys came to that mastermind. Actually, that was the very first structure of that mastermind, because I never taught people how to create automated presentations that branded you and exposed the benefits of what it was that you were doing to get teammates or customers, right? I've never really exposed that, although I've used it in my business. So you guys went through kind of like the first round of me teaching it. You were my guinea pigs on that. So it ended up being very, very, very successful. And but it got me, it's always testing, like marketing and what you do is always testing. So for me, I was like, if I can prove this concept, then I can do the next thing that I want to do, which you guys did a lot of the heavy lifting, which was, I gave you templates, but what we're doing now is taking that to the next level, and we're building it all out for people.
Oh, sure. Now
preset.
you do it.
Yeah. Yeah. Hey, you can still plug in and get everything,
Of
but
course. No, I know that. You give it a lot of value.
but that's
It's
the tough
evergreen.
thing. Yeah, that's the tough thing is if somebody's busy, they're juggling everything. So it's again like with what it is that you guys are doing, with what it is that everybody that is tuning in, if just think about this, if you can make somebody's life better, faster, easier in some way, better, faster, easier, or have them like save money in some way, if you frame that message around that, you'll get a lot of people tuning in. You get a lot of people following, opting in, wanting to know what's up. Just remember that, like better, faster, easier, cheaper. Less, not cheaper, I like the word cheap, but less expensive or whatever,
Less
right?
expensive. One of the things I wanted to share is that I know there are people watching this that are very new to that. I can see a bunch of the names there that are very, very new to the business or just really in their first year or two. And I think this could sound very esoteric and it's not for me, but there's going to be a day like for me to say, oh my God, how did I live without this kind of stuff? And to understand how this fits into your business is sometimes a challenge for people that are new to it, or realize, no, my business is not big enough for this, but it's actually this that builds a big business, right? Collecting those people. We talk about making more calls and building a list, but that's all we're doing. We're talking about building a list and maintaining that list, but building a more engaged list. One of the things I wanted to mention is that when you're doing these A/B tests, I think a lot of people that I work with tend to change things too quickly. They're really not looking for the feedback yet. They're going with their gut instinct. And usually we're wrong, right? When we A/B test something and we want to change that email, like, oh, that didn't work. Why? Because you sent it to 10 people? Like send it to 10. So talk a little bit about that so many people are so eager. So because they're bored with their own messaging, but yet the audience hasn't even seen it yet. They don't have time to get bored with it.
Yeah, this happens so often. I had one of my girlfriends do like a Instagram story about it in her business where like they were getting ready to like create new goals, new strategy because they thought that none of their stuff worked, but then they looked at numbers. Like numbers don't lie, right? And they were like, "Oh, wow, we were vastly wrong." So, you want to just have benchmarks. Okay. So before you determine that your social media strategy isn't working anymore,
right?
Track and have a benchmark. Say, I'm going to spend 90 days posting one time a day. I'm not going to focus on the result. I'm just going to focus on the activity. And that's going to give me about 90. You probably have a couple days where you miss about 90 posts. And then I'm going to look at my results from there. And I'm going to take a look and you'll kind of have an idea too, like which posts are getting the most attention. And then you can kind of take that insight and go, well, let's do more of those, right? But you want to have those benchmarks and timelines that you build in for yourself. And if all else fails, like if you don't even know how to do that, just find somebody that does and just ask them, right? If you've read a book, one of my favorite books is Who Not How. And it really, Darren Hardy really talks about in that book, it's not, so many people are walking around going, how do I do that? How do I do that? How do I do that? And you're asking yourself the wrong question. The fastest way from point A to point B is who, not how. There's already somebody that has done what you're looking to do. So you could spend days, years, months trying to figure out how to do it yourself, or you could just fast track it and go to the who and say, hey, by the way, how do I do this? Like, can you show me? Because I want to speed this up. And you'll be able, you guys, like Angel,
I'm going to give
Paul,
you, Tanya,
yeah.
I'm going to give you a real world example. So we're promoting this call tonight. We got links for it. It's a, empowerhourcall.com. People are making mistakes. They're going to Light and Pride Academy. So this guy who's in the industry, who I know for quite a while, he rounds up registering for our $500 to $1,500 a month webinar, How to Make Money, right? He registers for that. You're going to see it, Angel. It came through on Lion Pride. And he's like, dude, I need this. So that whole thing, like, maybe you were looking for a customer or maybe looking for a distributor to sign up. Now I got a player who's like, you know what? There's some value here. You guys are doing things that we're not doing. And I think I need to do them. So you never know how this flypaper is going to work for you. But it literally just happened today. Actually, twice.
Yeah. And you need to just, talk to people. The leaders are not as busy as you think that they are. I was just at I did a leadership retreat with two women that are very, very, very successful in network marketing, top of the food chain and network marketing. And I hung out with them in Florida, and it was literally just a fun girls trip. And yeah, we talked about business and investments and stuff like that, but that's fun stuff for us. But I said to my girlfriend, Michelle, I was like, I can't, does this happen to you? I was like, people on my team will be like, I didn't want to reach out because you're so busy. She's like, I don't know what they think we're busy doing. Like, come on, we're in network marketing. Like, we have time for people. So, reach out. And I love, and I'm sure you guys do too, love working with the people in my network marketing company that reach out, because like they are the most deserving of your time, because that means if they're reaching out, they're working, they're doing the thing, right? So yeah.
I'm going to tell you right now, because she's on this call, but Kate Unger, absolutely crushing it right now. And she reaches out constantly.
Way to go, Kate.
She's really, really crushing it.
Texting right now in our WhatsApp chat. So yeah.
I'm sorry?
I said she's texting right now in our WhatsApp chat.
I want to recognize you. I really do. I want to recognize you. I'm really doing it. You reach out all the time. Peg Tucker too. Absolutely reaches out all the time whenever they need something. So they're doing it, right? Or they have questions at least. It means their mind is going. Sorry to interrupt you, but I really wanted to kind of call out a couple of people.
And I think what you gave us at Ignite, Tanya, was an ability to create something. People didn't understand it at first. Our team didn't understand it at first, and that's okay. They didn't quite understand why we're doing this, or what does it mean, or like there was a little bit of chitter chatter, but you gave
little limiting beliefs rose up.
Right. It gave us the ability to now build a lead system for our teams. And I think that leaders in the industry who can learn from you and learn from your systems and your masterminds and just plug into what you're doing, if that's what you're looking for, this is where you plug in. And just like you said, like, it's the who, not the how. So if I know Tanya's been doing it for years, 15 years, this is all she's done. I want to plug into you. Why would I plug in anywhere else? Right. What Paul said about when you said social media is your billboard to your home, that hit me hard, because so many people, like you said earlier, think social media is their home, and we don't own it, and we don't have control over what might happen, any of our media there, any of our files. Just like I said, I can't even find that video that we did. So that shows you right there, back from years ago when I learned, make sure you have different video files for the stuff you're doing. I can't even find that video now. So it's so true. And I think that, one other thing you said here, the 90 days, 1 time a day. And I think that, guys, for those of you listening, 90 days right now takes us to the end of the year, right? We get to the end of the year. How do you want to set up your 2025? Listen to what Tanya just said. If you have to commit to 90 days to start to get yourself into momentum for next year, to actually create that year that you said you wanted this year, is that a bad thing? And if that makes you feel like, oh my gosh, I have to put in 90 days before I get results, and I have to see what's working and what isn't working, this is what experts do. And they see what posts worked. my video posts, the questions I ask, the ones that are about product, the ones that are about business, figure it out. Just like she said at the beginning, she figured it out. And that's
And
what
she
people
said
do.
4 years to gain traction. I was talking to John Melton a couple of weeks ago, and he's like, "Yeah, dude, 7 years. I cranked it out, crushed it for 7 years, and then it just, every overnight success is what you just see. Like, you see the Olympic athlete win the gold medal. They're in those 4 races, and you don't see all of those hours and hours of training from grammar school all the way up through to get to the Olympics." Right.
Yeah.
And you just see that little moment at the end there. Right. And we all cheer, and we don't share in that journey. And it's really, really, really crazy. Another thing is mediocre. Don't be mediocre. I mean, so many of you are just like, I'll do just enough. Like, what did they say? Everything in moderation. Not network marketing, because in moderation, right? It's like, you think an Olympic athlete trains to moderation. Wait, let me not do too many push-ups here. I don't want to win the gold, right? I'll just be happy if I place. So that whole moderation thing, if you really want it. Now, if you want to make $500, $1,500 a month, and yes, I get it. You put that time in. But if you really want whatever your top rank is, or you really want the car bonus, or whatever your company does, moderation is not going to get you there. It's just not. You know what I mean? It's not super hard work, but when you build systems and they're duplicatable and they repeat, there's no other industry. Guys, I was on Wall Street for years. There's no other industry that's scalable like this business. And you said recruit up, right? Guys, I would have never recruited me into network marketing on Wall Street, the whole 9 yards. Meanwhile, not only do I love being here, it's all I want to do. It's all I want to do. So find those people, right? I hated this, by the way. I thought it was just like for other people. If I wanted to make an extra $1,000, I stay in the office an extra 10 minutes, make a trade, screw over one of my clients for a commission, and do that, right? So I went from that me mentality to the we mentality, and it's like the greatest thing ever. All right, I'll shut up and let you girls finish up because we're running late.
We'll let Tanya get going. Her and Ricky are busy, and they've got their new house, and they've got stuff going on. And I have just been so grateful that you're here tonight, and thank you for taking some time. Thank you for giving value to this community, because I knew you always over deliver, and I love you so much. Let people know if you want to just sprinkle a little bit of curiosity.
Give us your website. It changed our careers.
Yeah. How they can get into your waiting list. Go to TanyaAliza.com, guys. There's so much training there. It's absolutely unreal, the amount of value that this woman has put out.
Aw, you guys are so kind. Yeah, we do have a wait list. Actually, the name of the company is called Audience Optimizer. So if you go to audienceoptimizer.com, I think right now there's a place where you can get on the wait list. There's not much information about it, but basically, I've taken 15 years of my business and basically made it as easy as somebody can to plug into everything that it is that we do. So
I love it.
And have that ready for their own business.
I hope I spelled that right. No, I didn't. Is it audienceoptimizer.com?
Yeah, you got it right, Paul.
Holy moly, that's amazing.
Ding, ding. Way to go.
Yeah, I hope that works. If it doesn't, just comment or reach out to these guys.
Audienceoptimizer.com or TanyaAliza.com. Even her Saturday email is worth it. Just getting her Saturday email is worth it. The coffee thing, what do you call it? Something coffee or something.
Saturday morning coffee with Tanya. Yeah.
Saturday morning coffee with Tanya.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
So I'm not,
Tanya,
just give tons of value to your audience. Know who your audience is, tons of value to them. Don't even think about what it is that you're selling. Just think about what it is that you can do for your audience. The sales will come. And honestly, you do have to, have that ask, right? You ask them, hey, are you open? But if you give enough value, people can't say no to at least being open to taking a look.
You are amazing.
Angel, take us out, Angel.
I love you so much, girl. You know that. I can't wait to spend more time with you. It was so awesome to finally meet you face to face in North Carolina in March and hug you and see you. And we need to spend more time together. But thank you so much for coming out here. If people have questions, I'll let you know. But I know that people are just going to be blown away with your value. I'll share with you the feedback that we get because I can tell.
This replay is going to be up in the next few hours or tomorrow on lionprideacademy.com, which we created because of our mastermind with Tanya. And it's changed everything.
Exactly.
That's awesome.
Everything. So thank you. Everything
so
you do.
proud of you guys, by the way. Yeah.
Thank you,
if you ever get a chance to work with Paul, or Angel, both of them. I mean, dynamic duo, you will not regret it. These guys have the biggest hearts, and there's the most servant leaders that I have ever met. And in this profession, it's rare. So yeah.
Let's hope it pays off, right? It has been so far. Let's hope it keeps paying off.
It does.
Good night, guys. We love you.
Love you so much, Tanya. Thank you guys for tuning in.
All right, guys,
Thanks
get the
for
replay.
having me. Ciao.
Night, guys. Thanks so much, guys, for joining us tonight. This has been fantastic. I'm sure you guys have pages of notes like I do. I want to remind you, September 23rd is Ray Higdon. You're not going to want to miss that either. That is just absolutely going to be value for us as well. Make sure you've texted Empower to the number that you're going to see on this screen, because you'll get the reminders, you'll get the replays. You don't want to miss any single Monday this fall, guys, because we are delivering training. We are delivering value. We have incredible guests coming almost every single week, and we love to have you here with us. So we'll see you next week, 7 o'clock Eastern. Take care, guys.